Howdy friends, welcome to a tarot reading slash intuitive message guidance heartfelt sharing. I have rain sounds playing for ambiance in the background if you hear the lull of that. And so yeah, before I get into the reading, I have my beautiful Mind's Eye Tarot deck by Olivia Rose that I'm going to use today. And I'm going to share some bullet points that I wrote down and kind of go into them a little bit because these are the themes that are inspiring me for today's spread. So if you feel drawn to this, if this video finds you and if you resonate with it, then it's possible that there are some messages or conversations in here that might speak to you or resonate with you. So I literally just said if this resonates with you, then it might resonate with you. And Butter sneezed. My cat Butter. Bless you, honey. Yeah, and before I get into that, I just want to let you know that I offer personal readings. And everything that I share, all the messages I share, everything I put out there, it comes from my heart. It comes from the conversations and the things and the insights that I extract from my own experience, my own self. And I feel like, that was a really awkward skip. I feel like it's, because I got one foot on my chair and one foot on the ground and I wanted to move, so I didn't want to put both feet on the ground, so I skipped. That's what that was about. Anyway, just wanted to advocate for using your own discernment. I think that, readings and things and advice should not be a replacement for your own internal guidance system. So I just want to encourage you to listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, trust your gut, trust your intuition, and, just make a point to pay attention, because this video, me speaking, no matter how on point it may be for some people, it can never ever replace your relationship with your own intuition, and I really want to be an advocate for that. So and with that being said, if you do feel like I have something to offer you, if you want to work with me deeper, if you like my energy or the way I read, then you are more than welcome to send me a message here or on Instagram at Rustic Peach. Reach out for a reading. I have all the info for what I offer in the description of this video. So with that, I'm going to get into the actual bullet points that I wrote down for this video. So there's two major themes going on that I'm going to pull some cards around for advice on navigating through and maybe some more insight. And by the way, if you saw my last video, you saw that I put on these like glue-on nails for the first time in my life, or maybe since I was like a 10-year-old or something. And I only had one last time, and I just made my chair break a little bit. That's fine. Whoops. It's a very old bamboo chair, and I leaned into it a little bit much, so that's what that sound was about. Anyway, just trying to paint a picture of my environment right now for you, because all you can see is what's in this box. But anyway, I have them all on now, and I'm having fun with these claws, and they're so beautiful in the sunlight. But anyway, so the 2 points here. Point number 1, I'm just going to read you my bullet point. I wrote parts reactivating, release with presence and love, pressure cooker, liminal space. So this message is for those of you who are doing the work. You have been going to the deepest places within your own psyche and body and spirit. Your faith has been almost like a target. You're growing, expanding, deepening faith, and the capacity of your spirit and your soul through your body has been expanding. And as that expansion has been happening, that growth has been happening, you have been faced with challenges that are manifesting externally and internally, that are it's almost as if the part of you that's connected with your intuition, your faith, your growth, your intentions, that kind of part that is clear, the part that is connected, the part that knows what's going on, the part that sees what's happening. It's like that part is being challenged by your ego, or even by external circumstances or external opinions that or external projections or situations that present themselves in such a way that cast your true self, your insight, your intuition, your spirit, your heart, your soul, the true, the growth-oriented, faith-rooted, that part of yourself, the pure part of yourself. It's like these challenges and these circumstances have been rising up to cast your light, your inner light, in a shadow of doubt and fear. And specifically with the parts reactivating, release with presence part, this video is for you if you are stepping into a bigger version of your power. You're making decisions in a broader way than you ever have in your life, and you are allowing specific parts of your voice to be heard, to be expressed. And in doing so, you are meeting new edges of your the previous restrictions of your ego, the places that your soul, your spirit, your voice, your truth, your essence tried to come out in the past, but retracted and pulled back in because of some external threat to your safety in the past. Now you are in situations where you are being confronted with the choice to liberate those parts of yourself. So this is for those people. As you are stepping into these more embodied, full versions of yourself, your expression, your essence, there are going to be psychosomatic plays and conditions and just things that arise in your mind and in your body and in your emotional body, and whatever layers of the self that these ego programs exist in. And when I say ego, I have a very neutral connotation with that. The ego is the conduit for existing as a human in life and in a body. The ego is a friend, contrary to what a lot of spiritual people, I think, believe. And there's wisdom in fighting the ego at times, but the ego is necessary. And if it weren't for egos, we would not have survived as a species, I don't think, because the ego is designed to keep us alive, designed to keep us safe. And the reason we feel fear when we speak publicly or tell the truth when it's a hard thing is because at one point we needed to fixate on negativity and find the worst in a situation so that we could avoid danger. And that's why I don't know, I'm getting I think a little too far beyond my scope, but I was gonna make the example of being in a cave, hanging out with the fire at night, being a primordial human being and having to be very alert for danger and threats, and just basically just paying attention to negativity and danger. And that's the design of the ego. So it's not a bad thing, it's a necessary thing. But as we step into a more full embodiment of our voice and who we are and our expression on this planet, the aspects of our ego that have been in place for our entire lives up until that moment are going to flare up, so to speak. So your emotional kind of reactions or responses, or your emotional state as of late, while you are growing through this liminal space and expanding tremendously, as you're doing that, there might be some heightened kind of emotional states, and it might feel more intense than normal. It might even be scary. But if this perspective resonates at all, or feels true, or makes a light go off in your head and you're like, that makes so much sense, that feels right, then I would hold on to that, because it could serve you well and help you stay grounded and help you, go from your, any anxiety or overthinking or unnecessary, worry that you might have around that phenomenon. Like if this kind of helps you explain why you're experiencing what you're experiencing and it rings true for you, then I would just remember that and speak to those feelings, acknowledge them, thank these aspects of your ego for protecting you at one point, for bringing you this far, and acknowledge that they are arising again because they see a potential need to protect you, where intellectually, spiritually, on a heart, level, you know that you don't need that protection because you are safe, you are able to protect yourself, XYZ, whatever. But the ego mechanisms will come back up, and you, even though you're growing, you will feel as if you are still stuck in the past or still trapped in some way. And it might be so loud and so big just because the bandwidth of how much you're expanding and growing is more than that part of you is prepared for or used to. It's a sign of growth. And I hope all of this made sense. I feel like if I talk anymore, I'm just going to go in circles. And the second point that I'm making kind of ties into this, and I just wrote down sovereignty, intuition being tested and resisted for growth. So if one of the things that you are currently expanding your capacity to hold and to use is your intuition, your psychic abilities, your sovereignty, being more of yourself, then it could very well be the case that those aspects, your intuition, your psychic abilities, are also being attacked by your ego or by external forces that are, threatened by the power that you hold, or threatened by, the power of your truth, or threatened by the possibility that you might speak a truth, or you might stand alone and have a different perspective or a different mode of being to what people around you or groups or rules or structures around you are familiar with or comfortable with or able to accept. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. And yeah, these are things that I'm personally experiencing, and I know that, I make these videos so that I can bring the wisdom that I hear as I'm growing to other people who are right there and just need a little bit of encouragement and, like making sense of things, piecing things together, because it's not really easy, and it's challenging to go through anything alone, and so that's really what motivates me to share this. But some people who are watching this, who this is for, have been in or are entering situations or challenges where your own intuition, your own psychic discernment is being challenged by everything around you, and it's casting your intuition and your psychic sense in a light of doubt. It's like up until this point, your psychic and intuitive abilities have been so strong, and you've received so much confirmation about your own unique blueprint, your own internal language, your relationship with your psychic abilities and your intuitive abilities. And now that you are continuing to deepen your psychic and intuitive strength, it's being tested, it's being confronted, and you are being removed from pretty much any external validation of the truth of your abilities. So it's almost like an initiation, dropping you into your own sovereignty. It's almost as if there's this secret lesson going on, or the secret question of how much do you really trust yourself? How strong really is your conviction? Because we are going to take away all external validation, all just getting the remote in case an ad goes off. All external validation, all confirmation on the outside, we are taking that away so that you are forced to lean on your inner reserves, your sense of validation, the strength in your own spirit, your conviction. You have been, or you are being stripped of these things because you are growing. You know you're meant for great things. You know you have God-given gifts and abilities and a purpose and a passion behind these things, and you are so convicted of these things that they are being strengthened right now, because you're having everything that you used to rely on for that mirroring, that support, that encouragement, that validation being taken away or being distorted. And it could even be that some places or situations or practices or things that you used to rely on for a consistent sense of, you know, comfort and affirmation are now all of a sudden changing in some way or being removed from you in some way. And so, yeah, if this video is for you, then that message is for you. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards from this beautiful deck for advice on how to, let me actually write this down because I feel like I need to organize the actual questions. So advice on how to power your own conviction and navigate, I'm going to say, ego flare-ups, because those are the 2 points that I went into. So first, let's get advice on, if the first part of the message that I shared resonates with you, this tarot reading section is going to be on navigating those ego flare-ups. So any advice for those watching on navigating those ego flare-ups? Any messages? Right away we have the Sun and the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so you are definitely creating your own comfort and security. And also the Sun in the Nine of Pentacles really speaks to a sense of physical warmth. So you are literally making room in your flesh, in your body, to feel somatically better. You are about to hold the sensation of the most ultimate expression of your personality. The sun card, the light of your soul is about to be felt, and you're going to be so physically comfortable. And I think you probably already see this coming, or you understand this concept, because these are the things that I'm talking about. It's like, it's really hard for me to imagine that people could really understand it unless they were either like intellectually like super mathematically thinking and could like parse apart all the terms and logic of everything, or if you've actually experienced it, because I feel like the things I'm talking about are pretty lofty. But I'm speaking literally all from my own experience. So I'm kind of afraid that if you're not going through, you know, this kind of thing right now, these themes right now, then you might not understand this. But if you're still here, you probably are like, oh yeah, this is for me. So more advice on navigating these ego flare-ups. We have the Seven of Pentacles sideways, so it's like, there's something about the hard work that you've been doing and how you're doing a good job, and you're laying the message I get from this card, because it came out sideways, the upright, the Seven of Pentacles, is relating to a long, drawn-out, arduous, contemplative kind of process. And sideways, it immediately gave me the sense of like laying something to rest, laying an energy to rest. So the energy, my interpretation of this card coming out the way it did, was the energies of this long, drawn-out, arduous like work, and this sense of time and patience and all of that is becoming easy. It's becoming not heavy. Like the work that you have to do to kind of arrive where you're trying to arrive is lightening, and it's kind of ceasing a little bit. And you've done so much, and it's like almost time to kind of rest. Like you might be entering a period of like a lull, where the work that you've done and the momentum that you've built for yourself up until this point is literally carrying you through. And that's what I felt with that card. Any last advice for navigating the ego flare-ups? We have the Eight of Swords upside down. So this is kind of similar to what I was just saying, but letting go of short-circuiting. There is an aspect of yourself, that of your ego, that was trying to protect you, trying to serve a purpose, and expending energy where it was not providing anything to you in return. Eight of Swords upright is literally short-circuited energy, which is why it's represented by anxiety and overthinking, because overthinking does not serve any purpose, in my opinion. I mean, it does. Like, it's a mechanism to save you from feeling the pain of whatever situations that you're going through. But once it's no longer needed, once this wired, short-circuiting, panicked energy is no longer needed, peace and quiet comes. So it's like that is letting up, which is great. So I'm going to put these cards back and then move on to the next question, which is advice on how to power your own convictions through this time of your intuition, your psychic abilities, your discernment, your sovereignty all being tested. And I just actually saw a little orb in the corner of my vision, a dark one, moving across the floor. I see them a lot, especially when I'm doing readings or in the kind of sensing, feeling mode, and this thing just shot. So it was a reminder for whoever needs to hear this. Trust what you see. Trust what you see. You sensed something. You sense something. And no matter how subtle that phenomenon that you are sensing is, it still caught your attention. It still was wide enough for your incredibly honed, astute perception abilities to pick up on. Because I just saw another one. Your abilities, your capacity to sense and to see is wider and broader. The energy's kind of going crazy right now, so bring it down a little bit, make a bubble. You are naturally going to see and pick up on more things than the people around you, so long as your capacity and your bandwidth for those sensibilities is broader than the people around you. And this could be what happening. You could be expanding your capacities and, you might be feeling a little bit alone, or you might be tempted to think you're crazy because you're now all of a sudden experiencing a lot more than is being externally validated or reflected back to you. And that's just a sign that your capacity is deepening, it's increasing. And naturally, like attracts like. So I think that the more you trust yourself and find ways and spaces to ground your energy, to acknowledge, okay, this capacity is increasing, and I need a place to ground my energy, to put it, to maintain myself, to have an anchor, to come back to center. Stick to your practices, stick to your prayers, stick to your supportive community, whatever it is that you have to help you, manage and center and anchor your energy, so that you don't, trip up on tricks of the ego that are trying to get your mind to freak out. That Eight of Swords energy, which showed up upside down, which was really good. And so I feel like you're probably already doing what I'm saying. But I feel like as long as you have those anchors, so that your mind doesn't get pulled while you grow into the unknown more, then you're going to be just fine. So advice on powering your own conviction. I feel like I was in the middle of saying something and I kind of cut myself off or went off a tangent, but I think I said everything I needed to say. So anyway, advice, powering your own conviction. So the Three of Wands is literally a direct confirmation that your horizons are expanding pretty rapidly. And we have the King of Swords upside down. So this to me is a sign that you are the way it slipped on the table, this card slipped on the table and slid very smooth and remained upside down, or remained face down. And the fact that it's the King of Swords, literally the master of intellectual discernment, the master of intellectual discernment, it slipped right in and it stayed face down. So it's like you might feel like you're getting insights or even hearing secrets or discovering truths that you don't see around you. They're very personal, they're very internal, they're very hidden, they're very subtle, they're very discreet. It's just coming in, it's like a little whisper. You might literally be hearing voices, hearing whispers, hearing things in your mind. And I mean, look, you see that like billowing, you know, energy coming right out of his mouth, and he's got no eyesight, like he's got no, his eyes are blocked by this like red and gray like mask thing, and there's an eye outside and the sword is pointing directly at the eye. So it's like the sight, it's the message is coming through for this one is like the sight is coming to you, it's coming into you, the sight is surrounding you, and you don't need eyes to see. And look, there's an eye on his throat here, so the throat is the center of truth and knowing, and that eye is wide open. You don't need your physical eyes. You don't need to see outside in order to be aware of these currents of truth. So it's like, that's pretty powerful. Any other advice? Powering your own convictions. We have the Six of Swords, so there's a message of, god damn, there's a message about moving on, and like I was literally about to say moving past certain things, allowing things to literally fall away from you, allowing the letting go to happen, allowing the moving on, the moving away to happen. If that wasn't a direct reflection of this, then I don't know what was. And the fact that all these cards just spilled out of my hand and fell on the floor, I'm literally getting like chills, and I feel heat building and like rising, and it's pretty crazy, this energy. And if you're still here, I'm sure maybe you can feel it too, but this is just very powerful and insane. But yeah, just based off the way that the cards all fell out, I think that was an extra emphasis on the energy that is already probably very obvious. I'm just gonna ask the energies to tone it down a little bit. I don't need so much obvious energy. Maybe someone watching this did. Pardon me while I pick these cards up, okay? I'm just gonna get them off the floor, and I will be right back with you in just a moment. I pick these up off the floor, and I'm gonna reshuffle and pull a final card. And also another message is, it's just because you have the ability doesn't mean that you should or even need to use it, because sometimes, like, even though this is fun and everything, it's like sometimes like it gets scary, sometimes it gets overwhelming, sometimes it's like, you know, sometimes you don't need the obvious, you know, loud kind of display of something that you already know to like amplify it. It's like imagine the energy that this reading is giving me so far is like someone standing right in front of you and they're telling you something, but they're saying it through a megaphone. Like there's no way you can't hear what they're saying because they're shouting into your ear with a megaphone. And that's kind of how I feel with this energy sometimes. Sometimes it's so loud, and my kind of perspective of that is like the little spirits are so excited to communicate that sometimes they just, like a child, they scream because they have so much energy, and you're just like, okay if you want to scream, we're going to have to create some distance because it hurts my eardrums. And it's the same thing with energy. As you grow, as you become more open, it almost might be as if the more your channels open, the more energy wants to pour in and flood you and overwhelm you. But it's so important to maintain that center, maintain boundaries, maintain groundedness, so that you don't get knocked off your feet. So that's important. So I want to just ask one more message for, powering your own conviction as you're going through this. And I honestly, after all this, I feel like you don't even need it, but let's just get one more anyway. Judgment and Page of Swords. So yeah, I feel like you're just in a place where you're extremely discerning and extremely eager to act on cutting out illusions, cutting out things that aren't really serving you anymore. And so let's just get one final card for overall advice for this reading. Overall final message. That was pretty cool how that came out. So the Fool, I think this is a message encouraging you that you are ready. You're ready to go be in the world. And this is also a reminder to be fresh in the world, be open, be new. There's no need to be jaded. There's no need to pretend like you are prepared or you know what to expect. It's like you're still very evolved and very aware and very skilled, but that doesn't mean that you know what you can expect. Like, you need to embrace. The way I read this card is that it's saying, like, you need to embrace kind of new energy and new beginnings and surprises. Like, get ready to be surprised, I feel. And trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. Trust the blend between your intuitive prowess and your intellectual cunning abilities. Queen of Swords is like a blend between felt intuition and like discernment and knowing. And I think this is an acknowledgement that you have this to prepare you for, jumping out into the world. So let's get one more final. So we have the Moon upside down. I think this is inviting an energy of stillness and quiet. This is encouraging the idea that, we don't know everything. We can't know everything. Just because we are perceptive, discerning, knowledgeable, whatever, doesn't mean that there's not going to be insecurity from time to time, or emotionality. And this card kind of came upside down and it was going to the phone. So I think this was just like the way that this makes me feel. How it came out was like a sweet and gentle reminder or encouragement for you to kind of hang out in your heart space, because these changes are really, there's a lot of change that has been going on and that is probably still going on for you. So it's likely that you are still processing and still kind of riding the waves of those things. So give yourself the space and the time and the love and the presence that you need to, really nurture yourself. And then on the bottom of the deck is the Six of Wands. That's the second six that we pulled today, first being Six of Swords. So this is victory. This is achievement, accomplishment. So all your dreams are going to come true. Things will turn out incredibly. So thank you so much for watching this. Just a reminder again, you can check out my offerings in the description below. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video impacted you. If it was supportive for you, I'd greatly appreciate knowing. And I trust that this is going to find the right people and that I felt inspired to do this for a reason. So yeah, with that, take care. Bless you. I'll see you next time. Bye.